Om Nilambujasyamalakomalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panau Mahasayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Eruditions to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, who is very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side. He is carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Bala Kanda in Ramcharitmanas by Goswami Tulsi Das. Verse number 58. As we recall the story, Parvati, Shiva, and Sati, they were having an aerial tour. All these are allegorical stories. And they say they saw Rama and Lakshmana grieving for Sita, especially Rama, who was asking trees and birds, "Where is my Sita?" While Sati's mind was getting strangely entertained by the scene, Shiva bowed his head and said, "Jai Satchidananda," with immense devotion. Sati couldn't understand. She asks Shiva, "Why should you bow down to a deluded person who is grieving for a bodily relative?" Shiva then told about Rama, but realizing that Sati has to have her practical experience, he said, "Why don't you go there and test Rama? Find him by your own experience." Sati came and presented herself as Sita Devi on the very path that Rama was following. Lakshmana and Rama, Lakshmana smiles and tells Rama, "Look, someone has come to spoil our drama." And Rama, from a distance, bows down to Sati Devi, not recognizing her as Sita, but as Sati Devi, the consort of Lord Shiva, saying, "O Devi, where is Lord Shiva? How is it you are alone in this forest?" And Sati Devi was ashamed and turning her back, she wanted to go back to Lord Shiva. On her way, Rama wanted to have her some experience of Maya. She sees different world systems, and in every world system there are all gods. But Rama's set is the same. Rama is always with Sita, attended on by Lakshmana, and all the details. So she became completely overwhelmed and reached her husband. And Shiva asked her, "Have you tested Rama?" And she says, "Oh Lord, why should I distrust you? What you said is absolute truth. I have no need to test Rama." Shiva realized that Sati is hiding profound facts. And at that time, Shiva made a sankalpa, a will, that I will not stay united with Sati the way I have been for all this time, until Sati undergoes a transformation. And a celestial voice glorifies Shiva. Glory to you for making this Shiva Sankalpa, a profound vow. You must realize all this is allegorical story, highly allegorical, a story of every soul. The soul understand this. Shiva is Brahman, the absolute, but absolute in a saguna state, who is Brahman is absolute. Through Maya, Brahman manifests as Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the sustainer, Shiva, the destroyer. Shiva is very close to Brahman. In other words, one who is enlightened, as if he joins with Shiva and then finally merges with Rama. That's Ramayana's mystical picture. Rama is the absolute self, Brahman. But I will not go into all that. All that we will gradually come to discover. Now the message that you are receiving, every soul that is potential Shiva is wedded to buddhi, intellect. Now, intellect also is of two types: samanya buddhi, vishesha buddhi. Samanya buddhi is general intellect, that is the tool of the soul. Things that you need in your life, intellect helps you to get them. That type of intellect is known as buddhi. But buddhi is of two types. Sati is of a different type, vishesha buddhi. The intellect that questions Shiva himself about Rama. Intellect that is interested in probing into the mystery of the whole world process and undergoing transformation, as you will see this story. So that type of buddhi is sati. But sati has two stages. First stage, this is vishesha buddhi, subtle intellect, but not intuitional. While that is the set within your personality, soul creates a highly positive situation, and as if makes a resolve that I will not stay with this intellect. Because if you stay with that intellect, you will be born again and again. So as long as the intellect has not shed its relative nature, as long as this intellect has not undergone transformation, she cannot be my wife. Speaking a storyline. In simple terms, as long as my intellect is dull, I will not accept it. That type of resolve must enter the heart. Lovingly. You have no fight against the intellect. But now you try to soothe the difficulty of the intellect by upasana, listening to Puranas, scriptures, developing bhakti bhavana, devotional feeling. Upasana is allowing your mind to adore God in so many ways. Sati is now spending time with Shiva. Shiva goes on telling various stories of Rama, Krishna, and many scriptures. Basically, of course, in Ramayana, he tells Rama's story and many details. And of course, when Sati turns into Uma, Parvati, that's when there is open-hearted communication. Shiva gives this entire story of Ramayana, and Uma enjoys it. What I was trying to emphasize is Shiva sankalpa. Shiva made a resolve, I will not stay with Sati. Because she pretended to be Sita. The moral behind it. As long as the intellect pretends to know, that intellect is not perfect. So from intellectual knowledge to intuitional knowledge, that's where the story is focused on. Now in a storyline, a great pathetic situation has developed. Sati basahi kailas tab adhik sochu man mahi maramun ko jaan kachu jug samadivas nishirahi. Sati, having learnt about Shiva's sankalpa, Shiva's vow, her mind is dominated by grief. Jugsam divas sirani. Every day that passes seems like a long duration. Nit nava sochu sati urabhara, kab jai hum dukha sagar para. In the heart of Sati, there is increasing grief. The term here is soch. Soch is a thinking process, not exactly grief. An increasing thoughtfulness. When will I cross over this ocean of illusion? If your intellect begins to experience it, that's called aspiration. It's difficult to understand the predicament of the intellect. On one side, the intellect looks at the whole world and nothing is substantial. pain and sorrow dominate the entire world. Anityam asukham lokam. On the other side, there is the goal of attaining moksha, liberation. In this condition, sati, or your intellect, continues to unravel the realm of thoughtfulness. And that realm of thoughtfulness is immense. Nit nava soch. How you thought yesterday, today you are thinking a little differently. How you will think a little later, a year after. Same points, same things, and different ways of looking at it. Different insights you get. And all the insights that you get, if your mind is not enlightened, they are not perfect. So you have to go into the insight of your insights. Nit nava soch. When will I cross over the ocean of this misery? The whole world before it. That type of intellect is ocean of misery. Because nothing is substantial. This state is in a sadhana process. And it has to smooth down as time passes by. In other words, if intellect rises to higher level, that's what intellect is going to experience. As daughter of Himalayas, Uma, she begins to realize the world is God's manifestation. In simple terms, the same intellect that in early stage intensifies your sadhana by reminding you of janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam, reminding you constantly about how much pain and labor in labor. Janma, in birth. How much pain involved in shedding the body, in death, and all those details. But that vairagya goes on helping your intellect until that intellect has come to the grip of a whole process of transformation. Until the intellect joins the yajna being performed by Daksha. Daksha that's the storyline. Until the intellect becomes deeply involved in understanding the mystery of the world. मैं जो कीन रघुपति अपमाना पुनिपति बचनु मिर्षा करी जाना. I, who have insulted Rama. And another great sinful act I have done is considering Shiva's words as false. So phalumo hi vidhata dinha, jo pachu uchit raha soi kinha, ab vidhi asapubhujiya nahi tohi, sankara vimukhaji avasimohi. And now I am reaping the fruit, which vidhata, the cosmic law, has presented to me. And I deserve it. O Vidhata, O Creator, this is not proper. That you continue to let me live a life that is away from Shankara, away from Shiva. A life separated from Shiva. All these in the storyline, they are all pathetic descriptions. But these are descriptions of growing dispassion, growing aspiration. कहीं न जाई कछु हृदय गलानी, मन महु राम ही सुमिर सयानी. Sorrow that is experienced in her heart cannot be described. Sati Devi, being intelligent, turned her attention to Rama, remembered, invoked Rama, saying, O Lord, you are called Deen Dayal. All those who surrender to you, you shower your grace on them. Deen term means poor. If you are poor, he showers his compassion on you. But if you are physically poor, you are miserable. Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Poor means that understanding nothing exists, nothing belongs to me. When you have come to that level of understanding, you are the poor one. Or even any degree of development towards it, to that extent, God comes to respond. And God strips you of your misery, robs you of your misery. That's why it's called Hari. Two names are there, Hari and Hara. Hari steals your misery. Hara robs you of your misery. They're all allegorical, simply meaning that in one stage, your misery goes gradually, fades away. In another stage, your misery is chopped out very harshly. To mai vinay karam karajori. This is the prayer she offers to Rama. Chutai begi dehaya mori. O Lord, with folded hands I pray to you. Let this body of mine come to terminate. Let me meet my death. If I have real love for Shiva's lotus feet, and if I am devoted to Lord Shiva by mind, speech, and action, then Tau Sabdarshi Suniye Prabhu Karau Sobe Gyupai Hoi Maran Jahi Binahisham Dusaha Vipakti Bihai. Then, O omniscient Lord, listen. Hasten to do what I am praying for. That is, may I quit this body easily, peacefully, so that this unbearable misery may turn away from me. What's this unbearable misery? That Shiva has renounced me and will not accept me in this body. That is to try to figure it out and try to assimilate it. Your intellect comes to understand, that's the spiritual sadhana, that unless it undergoes a change, a transformation, unless it becomes intuitional, her Lord, soul of the soul, Shiva, will not accept her. Will not accept her as his consort. Simple message behind it. Unless your intellect becomes intuitional, your soul will not attain liberation. यही विधि दुखित प्रजेश कुमारी अकथनीय दारुण दुख भारी. Thus, the daughter of Daksha, Sati. Daksha is ego principle. Every soul is led by ego principle to high and low. Ego in you can make you righteous. Ego in you can become inflated and drive you into miserable states. But Daksha plays that role of righteousness. And just to give you a little glimpse into just Daksha's family, Daksha's wife's name is Prasuti. Another name is Virani. Prasuti means resource, one who allows great virtues to emerge from her. Daksha and Prasuti has 16 daughters. I'm just giving to you, don't have to go into too much. 13 daughters were married to Dharma. And 3 of her daughters are married to special deities. I will quickly read out to you. One daughter named Shraddha. She is married to Satya, truthfulness. Another daughter, Shraddha, is faith. If your faith is pure, you will be led to truthfulness. In a storyline, these are like personalities. Another daughter is Maitri, friendliness. The son of friendliness. Now these daughters are married to Dharma. Dharma is righteousness. If Shraddha is following righteousness, your soul will be led to truth, Satya. Without going into details, let me just enumerate these names. Maitri, another daughter, father being Dharma. The son is Prasad. Prasad is mental cheerfulness, serenity, calmness. That's the Prasad term that comes after every puja, you get Prasad. Another daughter is Daya, mercy, kindness. And her son is Abhay, fearlessness. All this family is profound family. Instead, in spite of that, Sati is not completely settled. Because you may have all profound good qualities. You have to go a step further. All those good qualities should not be under the umbrella of ego. On the other hand, if you have developed all these good qualities, now you are in a situation to transcend your ego. Transcending your ego is your goal. Staying under the control of ego, that is to keep up the wheel of the world process going all the time. There is no end. Another daughter of Daksha is Shanti, and her son is named as Saman. Saman is tranquility of mind. Another one is known as Pushti. Pushti is nourishment. Nourishment in this context is spiritual nourishment. And the sun is called garva. It's another word. Gaurav. You develop a pride, a type of pride that is not degrading. You're proud of being humble. Spiritual pride, not in a negative way. If that is not there, then you are in a humiliated condition. Your soul feels majestic. Tushti. Tushti is satisfaction, gratification. When you assimilate teachings and digest it without belching. The son of Tushti is harsh. Joyousness develops. Each time you assimilate a teaching properly, joy surges in your heart. Another daughter known as Kriya. Kriya is a process of purification. Purifying your mind, purifying your body, purifying your speech. Her son is known as Yoga. Therefore, the term Kriya Yoga has come, mother and son together. Another daughter is known as Unnati. That which elevates your personality. Nati is degrading, Unnati uplifting. And the son's name is Darpa. Darpa is mostly used in a negative way. You develop a swollen pride. When ego evaluates your progress, ego is very liberal. Ego says you have done wonderful. You are enlightened. When that has come, that's called Darpa. And God does something to curl your ego. Like the story of Narada, which I'm not going into. Another daughter is known as buddhi. Now this buddhi is samanya buddhi. Sati buddhi is a special buddhi. The son of buddhi is artha. Artha means material resources. Another daughter is known as medha. Medha is purifying your vasanas. And the son that emerges out of medha is smriti. You will have a positive recall. Another daughter is known as titiksha. Titiksha is enduring. Have patience and endurance. If you have, the son is called kshem. Kshem is good health, well-being. Another daughter is known as lajja. Lajja term is used positively and negatively. This is positive. Lajja is modesty. Modesty that leads you to humility. The son of lajja is vinay. Vinay is humble personality. Another one is known as murti. Murti term refers to embodiment. And this murti has twin sons, Nara and Narayana. Nara and Narayana, God and Jiva, both in a potential form. they become Krishna and Arjuna. And now about the three other daughters. Swaha is that mantra by which gods are invoked. And here is the Devi who embodies that mantra, Swaha. Her son is Agni Devata, fire god. Next one is Swadha, another Vedic invocation. And this invocation is the son of this invocation is the deity of Pitriloka, the deity of the heavenly realm where your forefathers dwell. And last but not least, the most important, Sati, who is wedded to Shiva. So I just gave you a data. Yahi vidhi dukhit prajesh kumari. Now why all those great qualities? And Daksha is the father. How much goodness you can do in the world through all those qualities. But don't rest there. That Daksha aspect has to undergo a change. All your attainments is not of your ego. If all that comes to your heart, giving you a sense, how great am I? You have to understand the difference between the ego asserting it and the soul assimilating it. Soul assimilates it and smiles on it. Because at soul level, the entire world is Brahman. And the soul is Brahman. So nothing to be proud of. But goodness that you practice, they are creating, just like clouds have veiled the sun. Goodness that you practice, allow the clouds to become less opaque. The sun begins to shine. Dharma makes your life joyous. But that should not be, that's wonderful, but that is not the goal. Move further. Don't stay with it. And there comes the role of Sati turning into Uma. The intellect that promotes all these good things, that's Sati. And the whole Daksha family, belonging to Daksha family. But now that Sati has to undergo a change, a transformation. Lord Shiva entered into samadhi after this episode that has occurred about Sati's pretending to be Sita. And Lord Shiva made that resolve. He entered into deep samadhi. And Sati continued to suffer from intense sorrow of being separated from Shiva. How long did it continue? Bite sambat sahas satasi. 87,000 years passed. And after 87,000 years, great Shambhu rose up, woke up from his samadhi. I have already explained to you. The scriptures use the time aspect in a very liberal way. So time simply implies mind's state of concentration. The more distracted you are, you measure time in a with great longitude, with great length. Time stretches for a distracted mind. For concentrated mind, time shrinks. For enlightened mind, time vanishes. Anyone in that type of language, you can always look at anybody and can say, for 90,000 years, where have you been? In the scriptural terms, you are not lying. You are still limited. Why 90,000 only? Ram naam Shiva sumiran lage, janev sati jagatpati jage. And when Shiva woke up, he uttered them Ram, 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 Ram. Sati all the time was waiting with suspense. Your intellect waits with suspense. Jai Sambhu Padabandhanu Kinha, Sanamukha Shankara Asanu Dinha. And she bowed down to the feet of Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva usually gave her seat on his left side. That's kind of a symbolic of being close relation, close partnership. But now, so long, soul was partner with intellect, closely related. Now, there is a relation of guru and disciple. The soul has to teach the intellect. We have to figure that out. So Shiva doesn't give her seat on his left side, but in front of her. Because to a left side person, you have to look this way to tell certain things. Person who is in front, there is a direct teaching. In other words, now the role between Shiva and Sati is of guru and disciple. Lage kahan hari katha rasala, Daksha prajesha bhayete hi kala. Now Shiva went on telling stories of Lord Hari. Rasala, full of rasa. Rasas are sentiments. And just to again remind you, the 9 rasas, Shringar, amorous sentiment, Veer, heroic sentiment, Karuna, pathetic sentiment, Adbhut, dazzling, startling sentiment, Hasya, humor, Bhayanak, terrible, Vibhats, more terrible, disgusting. Raudra is gigantic and dazzling, amazing power. And lastly, Shant, peaceful sentiment. Those who are literary and who have made big success in their literature, that type of literature which has handled all these sentiments in a proper way, that literature has become very famous. Mahabharata has handled it. Ramayana has handled it. And through all these sentiments, you are being led to only one thing: love of Rama, love of God. Just like you are given different types of dishes and delicacies and different tastes for one thing, for your stomach, for your nourishment. So when you have these rasas, the mind gets that one thing: love of God. And this is also in scriptures, it's the role of upasana. Until you are ready for jnana, mind is fed with satsanga and various stories. But from a broader point of view, even if you have gotten jnana level, being fed with upasana is a powerful method. You do not get separated. All sadhana continues. So while Shiva spent his time with Sati, telling countless stories of divine glory, that Daksha Prajapati became the leader of all creation. His role is, he is the leader, he is Prajapati. He takes care of the entire creation. Daksha became the ruler of the creation. Dekha vidhi vichari sab layak, Daksha kinna Prajapati nayak. Lord Brahma, the creator, found Daksha very fit for being the ruler of the entire creation. That all is allegorical. The idea is the role of ahamkara tattva. Ego in human being is microcosmic aspect. Everything is studied as microcosm, macrocosm. Ego in you. Corresponding to ego in every individual, there is a cosmic ego. Daksha Prajapati is that cosmic ego. But you don't have to deal with cosmic ego, you have to just deal with your own ego. But as long as you have not dealt with your ego well, cosmic ego and your ego are in the same communication. And I will conclude at this stage. Om Shri Ramaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. Purnasya Purnamadaya. Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.